Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Every once in a while, we have to bring out the big dog.
Yeah.
Oh, God help us. It's time for Danny Unleashed. Sponsored by Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Go to eastonroofing.com for more.
Yes, indeed, it is time for Danny Clinkscale. Brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing, our buddy Joe, the fine proprietor at Easton Roofing, playing in the Jim Kissick Memorial Golf Tournament today. So much love to Joe, who was likewise actually even much better friends with Jim Kissick than me. And great man. And so a little salute to all the folks remembering Jim today with his great golf tournament. Golf and giving back to the community, two things that Jim Kissick loved to do and did. I don't know about the golf because I didn't play golf, but he gave back like nobody else to this community. So a tip of the cap to Joe and all the guys out playing in the Jim Kissick Memorial Golf Tournament. Listen, a lot of bad weather means a lot of roofers are going around knocking on doors telling you, hey, we'll give you an inspection. If there's damage, we'll go throw it at the insurance company, and we might be able to get you a new roof. Be careful about this. This could be a problem. If they deny you and pay you nothing, it's still a claim. This ends up being a problem on down the road. You get too many claims on your record. That is a bad thing. Easton Roofing will come tell you the truth and let you know if all you need is a tune-up or maybe nothing at all. Make sure you have damage before you turn in a claim, because that will come back to haunt you years later. A lot of those knocking on your door roof companies, they don't care about years later, man. They're going to be in some other town chasing some other storm. Not Easton Roofing. Born and bred right here in Kansas City. They will take care of you. Make sure. Get a free inspection today from Easton Roofing. The guys doing the work at my house are Easton Roofing. Met him through Danny Clinkscale. Of course, Easton Roofing, a big sponsor for DannyClinkscale.com. You can call him today at 913-257-5426. In Lawrence, that's 785-766-1259. Of course, EastonRoofing.com is your website to go. So if you can't remember those numbers, just remember Easton, E-A-S-T-O-N, roofing.com. Joe, pretty good soccer coach, too. I can tell you that firsthand from being on the wrong end of a 3-0 score last weekend to Joe's group of soccer players, fine young ladies, tough team, and I was very proud of our team. 3-0, man. We played a good team, and we played really well, and they still beat us 3-0. So congrats to Joe's lovely ladies who played very well. Let's talk to Danny Clinkscale. He's on our Sprint guest line from parts unknown. He's across the pond. Danny, where are you?
I am in Barcelona, Spain right now, Soren, doing diligent duty. And just before I get into the diligent duty I've been doing, I did want to pass along my thoughts about Jim Kissick. I knew Jim relatively well through golf tournaments, really. He was a sponsor at so many charity golf tournaments through the years. And he was honored by the NAIA, and if you want to look back on DannyClinkscale.com, there's a podcast honoring Jim Kissick in which Joe Spiker appears in that podcast as well. So he was a great man in this community, lost all too soon, and if anybody went to his visitation, they know, because the lines were so long, it was difficult to get in. It took hours and hours, and he's a man who will be very well remembered, and I hope they raise a great deal of money for a great cause for a great man.
Yeah, I agree, and you did a great job on that piece, because I went and checked it out. It is very good. DannyClinkscale.com if you want to check that out. Great Kansas City, and if you've probably seen the trucks, Kissick Construction rolling around town. Great family. His son David, a wonderful young man as well. I say young. He was young. We always think of him as our intern way back in the day. But a great father now himself, and just a great all-around family. So, a guy that was special to both of us, Danny. And they'll remember him today with a great golf tournament. And so if you want to know more about Jim Kissick, Danny did a great breakdown, great profile on him. DannyClinkscale.com, and go check that out. All right, now, what is the work you're doing in Barcelona?
Well, the work I'm doing is sitting here with you as the rain starts to break. A rainy day. It's probably the only bad weather day we're going to have here in 2 weeks in Barcelona and France. And while my wife just texted me that they are down at the ocean front at the Mediterranean, sipping white wine and eating tapas, I am dutifully completing my duties here at the apartment on Danny Unleashed.
By the way, can I just tell you how jealous I am that you're there? That sounds like an absolute. I know you've been to Europe before, and I never have. It's something I would really love to do. Not that I'm not giving you some ho hum. I don't get to travel. I've taken some pretty nice trips. I've been very blessed when it comes to that front. But I've never been to Europe, and I really really want to go. We're kind of wanting the kids to be older before we spend a bunch of money.
I agree.
Take them there and have them be like, I don't remember that. So that is awesome. How is Barcelona? Is it as outstanding as I hear people talk about it?
It's beautiful. We got here yesterday morning after I would advise you to come to Europe, especially if you have children, Soren. I would advise not taking the route we did, which was designed to save money. But when you combine the fact that the only direct flights from Kansas City to Europe go to Iceland, and the fact that we were trying to save a little coin, we did a Kansas City to Philadelphia, Kansas City to Atlanta to Philadelphia to Barcelona. From liftoff in Kansas City to touchdown in Barcelona, that was a sweet 18 hours.
Wow.
But we got here, and we were enjoying ourselves, to say the least, and today was our first full day. We went to a very famous church, La Familia, unbelievably spectacular, a church that was never completed by the famous architect Gaudi, and they are completing it now, and will complete it on his 100th death date in 2023. But for somebody like me, I expect to walk into a church and for the thing to fall down because I'm in there. But but the spectacular artwork and stained glass and everything else, it's really remarkable. But we also touched down about 12 hours after Barcelona completed their 3-0 win in the Champions League with Lionel Messi scoring 2 goals. And let's just say that's the entire conversation here in Barcelona. I have a sports page in front of me, which I can't read, but there are about 17 soccer articles. There are 2 Grand Prix auto racing articles, and there is one article about tennis, I believe. So that's what we have here in Barcelona. A very soccer-centric country, absolutely beautiful. The main thoroughfare looks like, if you can imagine a conversation, people out there, well, you can do one of these, I'm sure, Soren. It's like a combination of Michigan Avenue in Chicago and the Champs-Élysées in France, except there's these tall, mature, incredible trees that are built into the sidewalk, or basically the sidewalk built around them, all around the entire thoroughfare. It's spectacular.
If you are moving about the apartment, go to wherever you started, because your signal was better there.
I think I just ducked my head, so I will do that. I will obey.
I do love that you have a newspaper that you can't read set in front of you just to try to look cultured. Are you going to walk around with it under your arm so you look like you're a real bright guy and you know the language even though you don't?
Actually, I purchased the newspaper specifically for this segment so I could reference the fact that Messi and the Champions League and Barcelona completely dominated all the proceedings. That was why I purchased the newspaper, to get a look at how extensive the coverage, how little they care about all things American football, for instance, or anything else. And Messi is just completely omnipresent. My brother-in-law is with us on the trip, or I'm with him, whichever one you want to say. And his nephew, who is 18, he had one assignment for my brother-in-law, which was to get a flat-billed Barcelona baseball cap, which we did yesterday at the massive Barcelona team store, which is right on the main thoroughfare as well.
Okay, very cool. I do love that they've got tennis, which is huge in Europe, and I love that they got Formula One. The next race is in Spain, by the way, but it's not even until next weekend. So that does give you an idea of the auto racing. And by the way, and I'm a Formula One nerd. I love watching the Formula One just because of the pageantry, and I know it's the amount of money that's dumped into it. Like, it is like the most expensive racing around. It's unbelievable how much money is put into that. For some of what, if you watch American racing, you would think is the piss poorest racing ever, because Mercedes takes off and Ferrari takes off, and they are 17 seconds apart, and then everybody else is getting lapped. The Red Bull cars are next, the 2 Red Bull cars are next, and then everybody else gets lapped. There are 6 cars, and depending upon the track and how they dial it in, Ferrari can take down Mercedes. Ferrari's close to Mercedes, and then that's it. And then the 2 Red Bull cars, and I'm not even sure I forget what they're running, if they're Renaults or I think they're McLarens. And that's it. There are 6 cars that are worth watching in a 20-car field in every race. There are 14 cars that have no shot whatsoever, and they finish way back. And you watch these crowds, and they are going berserk watching this no-passing racing that goes on in Formula One these days.
It's not the same, but I think it's why for American sports fans who have grown to love soccer a bit, that the Premier League is so enticing, because while there are dominant clubs that generally are in there every year, those clubs do indeed lose to some of the lesser teams, whereas in La Liga here, Barcelona routinely will beat some of the lesser teams 7-8-1. Same thing in Germany with Bayern Munich and Juventus and Italy. So it's kind of the structure of European sports that there are haves and have-nots, and people accept that. But the thing that makes up for it in soccer is the fact that they do have relegation, so they're interested at the bottom of the league as well. It's to be kind of an accepted area of sports in this part of the world that there are going to be big-time dominant teams, as it were, no matter what the sport was, and then there are going to be people who just struggle for scraps, or struggle to stay in Grand Prix, or struggle to stay in La Liga or the Premier League.
Well, here's an example of Messi's connection to Barcelona. I typed in for this segment for a picture, Barcelona into Google Images. The first 15 pictures that show up, the first 3 rows, are all soccer, and almost all of them are pictures of Messi. That's Google Images. Can you imagine what it's like there?
Right, and the other part is that you walk into the Barcelona team store, and I don't think people realize about these clubs, and that's how they're learning about Sporting Kansas City now, that these clubs field like 20 teams, men's, women's, and it's not just soccer. Sometimes they'll have a rugby team, not here, but in England they will. Just a sporting club really is just that, with a whole family of teams, and Barcelona is actually a powerhouse in women's soccer as well.
Well, that's what Sporting said was part of what they were doing with the rebranding, was that they were going to do that. They talked about rugby and possibly lacrosse and different teams. And maybe that will come one day, but to this point we haven't seen it. But yeah, that is, that's why it's the, the whatever football club, because there's also the same thing rugby club and right. So on and so forth. I'm curious. Have you seen Messi, and have you chatted with him since you've been there?
Yeah, I sized him up. I wanted to see if he was about my height, because he's kind of listed there. And me and Leo chatted it up, and we had a conversation. I taped it, but I'm holding it for DannyKlingscale.com. You don't get any.
Yeah, he was having a coffee at a roadside cafe, and no one was talking to him. He was just chilling by himself.
Exactly.
Kicking it.
I just
sat down.
I just pulled out the flash player and said, "Hey, Leo, you want to talk?" And he was cool, man.
Are you Danny?
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the president of Easton Roofing. And Joe, you worked for other companies in the construction industry. What inspired you to start your own company in Easton Roofing?
Well, Danny, when you are working for somebody else, you oftentimes don't get to see the project through from beginning to end, and you don't get the final control over the customer experience. And I wanted to build a place where people can come and get work done on their house and not have to worry about being treated the wrong way, and get a good customer service experience start to finish.
The company slogan is "Where Integrity Matters." Why is that so particularly important to you?
Well, for us, what that means is treating each other with respect at work, treating our clients with respect, and making the right choice, especially when no one's looking. So when you're presented all the time as a contractor with choices that have to be made, are you going to make more money on this if you cut a corner? And we just wanted to make a place and a slogan that said to our people and to whoever is our customer, we're not